You want to grow your money, but given the circumstances you're in and the economy right now, you feel a bit uncertain, you feel stuck, and you're unsure what to do next. So let's change that right now. The Spiritual Investor Club is where wealth building meets energy, strategy, and community. And it isn't about dry financial talk or outdated investing advice that you don't understand, anyways. It's about learning how to make your money work for you without stress, confusion, or sacrifice. When you join, you get extended podcast conversations. We go deeper into everything that we talk about here: money, investing, energy, expansion, creating wealth on your terms. You'll also get journal prompts based on these episodes, which helps you go deeper into integrating the learning that you're picking up here. In addition to this, you get a Get Started Investing series, and it takes you from hesitant to empowered when it comes to your money. And you get one powerful stock pick each month so that you can start investing with confidence. And we do monthly hot seat sessions where I go on live and you can ask questions. You can get clear on things that you're unclear about in your life, and you can break through the financial roadblocks that have been keeping you stuck for, I don't know, years, decades, maybe even a lifetime. And you get to do this in a fun environment that's all in real time. The spiritual investor community, it's not like anything else out there. It's a network of like-minded spiritual investors who are growing their wealth together, which means you're not alone anymore. And I've saved the best for last because guess what? You can join right now for only $17 a month. Just go to thespiritualinvestor.com. I can't wait to meet you in there. Welcome to another episode of the Spiritual Investor Podcast. I am so happy to be here with you in this co-creation process. Absolutely amazing. Today, we're going to talk about a hidden power that is already within you that by the end of this episode, you will then be able to tap into. Now, most of us are living in one world or the other. So we're either in the circumstance or we are within the universal world, which is source, which is us. And so what we're here to learn and how we expand into our own greater consciousness is how we exist in the bridge. Specifically here, it's all relatable to money. But money is just energy. And so the things that you're learning everywhere, you're able to now apply to opening up and allowing more money to come into your life in an effortless way. So one of the things that we're doing is we are trading unrelatable concepts for our own wealth, and then we are blaming the outside world. And even if you're not in blame, you are in blame to a certain degree if you're not taking full responsibility for the fact that you create your own world. Thriving in the new paradigm, it's not just about you feeling good or even practicing self-care. I mean, that's just a support system that sets you up for what really matters. You are the whole meal. And it's interesting because we are coming into an age where we can feel that. It's just we're trying to figure out how do we become that and still do all the things that we need to do. And that's the work and that's the practice. And that's also the space of going within and tapping into that really, really amazing part of you. You know, I was just listening to Eckhart Tolle, and he was telling the story about a monk who went to the mountains for several months and just meditated. Now, he had a situation set up where they brought him food and clothing and the things that he would need. And so when he came down from the mountain, he was feeling enlightened. Well, then someone at the monastery said, "Hey, do you know that your visa's expired?" So he went to the place where you renew the visas, and he stood in line, and he stood in the wrong line for about an hour. And then he went and he stood in the right line. And then when he got up to the front, they still couldn't help him. So he became very annoyed at the person who couldn't help him. And so suddenly he was back in real life. So the mastery is in the middle. And that's the key to your expansion. And that's what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about the middle ground. And it's going to pertain specifically today to your language, because your language is the self-expression of you, and you're creating your world. Your language is also a communication and a relatable aspect of how we get to know you. And so if you're coloring your world and creating your world, and you are getting stuck in the relatability of concepts that don't relate, then there is power within that, which you can really see. And that's where we get our knowledge from, anyways. Our knowledge is already within us. It's just we're uncovering the ability to see that. So, your language, as I said, being an expression of you, is one of the great aspects, and it's also one of the challenging aspects because a lot of our language is not our own. We inherit it. And even though, yes, we inherit the ability to speak whatever language we speak anyways, we also inherit the joining together of words and concepts and even the tone and the energy that we put behind it. So one thing that I would like to, point out here, especially given that we're living in the world that we're living in now and all that's going on around us, is that you can still be in abundance and be uncertain. Like, you don't need to keep hammering this, let me be more certain, let me not be uncertain. You can actually do all of it at the same time. And your greater level of presence is one of the things that allows you to be able to do this. So, you know how in the 3D world, when you do a lot of things at one time, what do we call it? Multitasking. And it's basically a loss of power. Inside the Spiritual Investor Program, I teach a concept called split energy. And it's like, to me, it's like holding a bucket in the rain with holes in it. Like, it's just your power is dissipating everywhere. Um, in the world, in the universal world, we'll say, you can actually do many things at once, but what you're doing is you are improving and moving towards a greater sense of presence. So, an example would be you can sit and listen to a conversation at, let's say you're at one level of your life, one stage, and you're so pulled into that conversation that, certain aspects of it you're making about me. Maybe they didn't say this in the right way. Oh, they're not listening to me when I talk. Oh, they just said something that hurts my feelings. Like, that conversation, it sort of has you hooked. You can also have a conversation when you're at a different stage of your life, a different stage of presence, where you are in the conversation, but you are actually present to who you are. And so you are contributing to the conversation at a different level at that stage. And so in some ways, there's no opposite really here, but in some ways you can kind of look at it as the opposite of multitasking because that is doing a lot of things with power. So in order to get there, one of the ways that you do it is you look in the hidden areas of concepts that are related that really don't need to be related. And one of them is abundance and uncertainty. The reality is you have uncertainty around you all the time. And I'm telling you this now and bringing this up now because I want you in your power now, especially given the uncertainty that we're seeing in our economy and politics and everything that's going around us. My goal here is to help you be more powerful. And so this is one of the throughputs that I see right now is for you to stop trying to fix things. And instead, I really want you, if you're willing, to just lean in because your power is hidden in the disconnection of concepts. It's kind of like, I think of it as like, you bring the hammer down on the walnut, right? And it splits in half. The disconnection of these concepts is what allows your power to come out. And you're able to then create the world in which you feel safe, you're not worried, and you're building wealth. And your whole job is to thrive here in the new money paradigm. And part of that is to be connected. I mean, money is energy, and that's how it flows to us. And if you don't have money or all the money that you want, it's simply because you're not connected in the way that is going to call that in. There's a mismatch going on. So the goal here in the new paradigm is to be connected yet independent. And the thing is, you can't be independent and in the illusion of concepts that are related in a way that are taking away your power. So the setup that you're living in right now is you're very fortunate. I'm very fortunate. We all are because it gives us the ability to make money within seconds. I mean, you can trade your creativity in whatever way you want right now. 200 years ago, you would have been stuck on a farm. And so, to a certain degree, we have to say, yes, there's a lot going on around us, but we need to get over it at the same time. The reasons that things look like they do now is because we are evolving, and it is so we can evolve, and that's really it. I mean, the polarity ratchets up, and so does our evolution, and there is no such thing as time, and so stop looking for a relationship here, and you can free yourself because what we try and do is we try and apply time in this linear fashion, but the universe doesn't work that way, and then so we're wasting our energy. The polarity is the puzzle, and just leave it at that. The polarity is the puzzle. Don't try and relate it, don't try and, like, superimpose it into time, because what that does is it takes you right into wanting to solve it, and it's all energy. Energy is like air, you can't capture it, but you can call it in. Like, you breathe in air and you can actually pull energy in. I always think of it as like a circle. It's sort of coming in and then it's going out. That's we're co-creating here. And the energy doesn't need you, by the way. Energy is an invite. And your reward for that invite is a greater state of being. And you get that reward through a greater state of allowing. This is when money becomes effortless. And if money is an effort for you right now, it's simply because you have not actually stepped into the state of allowing that is matching you where you are in your level of consciousness right now. It's no different than relationships that require a lot of effort. What happens is they tend to, over time, they go against who we are, and whether it's a job or a relationship, and that's not sustainable and it becomes effort. So what this is just polarity. It's just an indicator, hey, you might want to take a different, way up the mountain. So the degree that you aren't independent is the degree that you are needy. And the more needy you are, the less you get in life because getting only comes from within. And if you're needy, that's blocking your ability to call things from within. So you're trying to get from what's out there because your within internal state can't get because it doesn't actually need. You're a whole being. So do you see how that doesn't work? That's why you can't create from lack. And I would caution you as well, while we're talking about this whole thing about concepts, I would caution you to really, really stay away from the concept of deserving. Like, it almost makes my skin crawl when people say, I deserve to make more. No, we all deserve. Like everyone is created equal. You're not more deserving than anybody else. You're just on a journey. And if you had already provided for yourself internally what you think you're deserving, then you would never feel like you deserve it. So to me, when someone says they're deserving, I'm like, oh, there's the lack. So just like, if you went to another planet and, like, let's say everyone's the same color on that planet, there would be no such thing as, there being a concept of a different color. Like, there's no concept of deserving if things are really working right, I'll say. So just consider that. And let's talk about independence. So independence, there are two forms of independence, just like two forms of everything. And you're always leaving behind what you don't want and allowing in the new. That's the way the universe works. So money is independence in the 3D world, like it or not. Money is abundance, and money is what allows us to fully express who we are without needing to be in survival, not needing to be in this, how am I going to make this work? It's just like I said with the monk, right? The monk didn't go to the mountains and ignore the fact that it's going to need food and water and clothing and shelter and all of that, right? It's just like, if it, in fact, the denial of that would be the illusion. And I'm going to get, into that as well here in a minute. But so if you aren't independently wealthy right now, then you haven't really accepted the fact that money is independence in the 3D world. And you are in denial about that. That's the reality. The reality is, like, honestly, like, there's no right or wrong. But if we were doing this right, our number one goal, first and foremost, would be to get ourselves wealthy to the point where everything's covered. Our cost of living is covered. Whatever we feel like we want to bring into our life is covered. And then we would go out and we would do the work that we're here to do in the world or that we desire to do. Well, it doesn't work that way. And that's okay because we're on this journey and we're just at this place wherever we are in the paradigm. But if you aren't in the energy of your money, then you aren't connected because you can't be connected and not be in the energy of something that represents abundance. This is easy for us to understand. We say, oh, people aren't connected to nature. Well, we get connected to nature and we can feel that. Plus, we don't have resistance and conditioning and all kinds of shit that comes up in our minds related to nature. No one says to you, oh, you're taking in too much nature. Oh, you're so greedy. Oh my gosh, stop looking at that plant. But we do that with money, right? It's the craziest thing ever if we really think about. Like, we're so psycho when it comes to money. I kind of love it because it's like we get to see the hypocrisy of ourselves, which also puts us into our own humility, which is a really powerful place. So, as I was saying, if you aren't in the energy of your money, you aren't fully connected. You're only partially plugged in because money is energy. So, what you're doing is you're avoiding the world in which you came to thrive. And it's a lot like, I think of it like, being here in this 3D world and basically ignoring or avoiding money or blocking money. It's a lot like going to the gym day after day and then walking around and looking at all of the gym equipment and doing nothing and then complaining about like you don't have a better body. So, here's the thing. And I tell people this when they come into the spiritual investor. I'm like, you don't pay me to be your friend. Like, what you're looking for is you're looking for greater expansion and you're looking for the accelerated route. And you are already playing at such a high level spiritually that you cannot take the fluffy, let me just sit around and manifest and feel good and let me go to the spot. Like, you're beyond that. You are ready for an advanced conversation about money. You are ready to use the higher level concepts and you are willing to pull in and do the money practices, which is the bridge. So you pull the concepts down energy wise, and then you implement them in the 3D, but you do this through a series of practices in order to become that version of you who effortlessly does that eventually, right? And so the SI method, which is what I teach inside the Spiritual Investor, it is a 5-part, it's a concentric path. There's no linear aspect to it because you are where you are on your journey. And so the way that it works is you can come in at any point on the 5-point circle. And then the circles get smaller. It's sort of the shape of a cone. The circles get smaller as you go up because what happens is the momentum that you have gained from implementing the circle below, if you will, actually makes the circle above you smaller because you are gaining and you're moving towards expanded consciousness, all the while calling wealth in. Because you can use any type of energy to expand. That's the beauty of being here. Like, you get to say and do whatever you want to do. And money is a great way for you to tap into the energy of you. It's just that you have to allow money in. I mean, you can do this through parenting, you can do this through love, you can do this because it's really all the same energy. I mean, you are source and you are creating using energy. So you are here to do great things, and you're here to do great things based on your capacity that you keep allowing yourself to become. And if you are ignoring the fact that it is, and I'm going to say this because I've said this before, it is your responsibility to be wealthy. Now, when you really, really get that, then you can step into this in an effortless way. And I want you to see that it is not serving you to put the burden on the world to take care of you by holding on to your emotional, whether you call it trauma or whatever, because you need more money. And you do that to a certain level when you blame the world, and you're blaming the world if you're not in full recognition that you are here to be wealthy. Like, accept it as your responsibility. Like, a child is born and suddenly it is your responsibility. You're a parent. Accept it that it is your responsibility to be wealthy because we need the most powerful, clean version of you. And no, money doesn't make you that way. Money clears the path for you to be that way because you live in the 3D world. That's the reason. So you are source, and you taking care of yourself first allows you to freely be here for me and for everyone else. So see it as your first and foremost responsibility to call abundance in all forms. It's not that you're just working on money, you're working on all of it. And actually, you'll see that your relationships improve as your money improves. It's really strange how that happens. And as your relationships improve, then your health improves, then other things in your life improves. You suddenly feel like you have more freedom in your life. Then what happens is different forms of abundance come in. So see it as your responsibility to be happy and wealthy. And then what you're really doing is you're merging into one. So when I say wealth is your responsibility, so I'm sort of bringing this back here because I want you to really, if you can, I want you to observe the way you're hearing that, but also observe the new way that you are hearing that. Can you tell the difference? The difference is there's an element of resistance in it, and can you feel that? You don't have to do anything with it, but can you feel that? And there also is an element of, "Oh, well, yeah, I could see that. Like, I can feel that new version of me there." And then what I want you to do is I want you to think about, like, who is watching this? Which version of you is watching this? Is it the new you or is it the resistant one? Can the resistant one see the new version? Can the resistant one feel that newness of it's your responsibility to be wealthy? Not really. Can you feel like maybe a lightness, like weights kind of come off of your shoulder a little bit when you're thinking about, wow, if I really took on wealth as my responsibility from a place of effortless, from a place of joy, what would change in my life? When you can start to feel this, then you want to become it. And when you want to become it, then what you do is you start creating your environment around you that will allow you to do that. Because this is all just us setting up structures. I mean, even when we prepare a meal, we're setting up a structure to give nutrients to our body. When we have a routine for our kids, we're setting up a structure, but that structure is about us too. So let's go back to this. You can be in abundance and feel uncertain. There's one side, there's the abundant side, and there's the uncertain side. You live in the middle, but you get to decide which area you're going to be closer to. The important thing is you don't throw one away. The more you move towards abundance, the less uncertain you'll feel. And so what happens is you're allowing that one to go away. So you're replacing it. Because you can't actually have, like, you can't feel more certain by focusing on uncertainty because that's lack and you can't create from lack. And this is really important during these times. So what I'm talking about here is you feeling the discord within these concepts. The discord meaning the interrelationship between the real you, source, and the conditioned you. It's very, very important that you really, if you do this, you will go deeper. And this also is bringing in a sense of presence for you because you can't be present. You can't be not present and do this. So I'm starting the new round of the mastermind today, and I'm going to take them through a practice around this because, the meditation that we do. So I always have them do a sitting practice for 20 minutes a day, which creates, like, that's just the general space. Like, you can't bring anything new into your life unless you create space. So a meditation is what, allows this. Then it's the more specific space, right? It's the space within you It is the leaning into the discord in a way that you're choosing. And, when the mastermind's 3 months, and so they're learning how to invest, they're learning how to manage their money, they're learning about all this stuff, but in addition to that, in parallel, they're learning how to build their energy and their habits and their life at home daily through these money practices that serve as a new foundation, because I don't want them coming to the mountain, the 3 months, and then, just like the monk, like, meditating the whole time, and then I'm feeding them and all of this stuff, and then they go back out into life, and it's like standing in line and at the DMV and no one can help you, you know? That's not what we're going for here. When you are done with the mastermind, it is a complete new beginning, but you're starting with that new version of you. That's the difference. So it's like you're starting life again, but from a floor that's higher up. So, and by the way, like, I talk about this uncertainty. Like, one of the ways, this is a bit of a hack, is you can't be more certain by focusing on, like, removing uncertainty, right? But what you can do is you can swap out uncertainty with opportunity. And that's part of what we do in the mastermind as well, is that I'm introducing them to new opportunities on how you can make money now, because all markets have opportunities. There's always the universe doesn't exist without opportunities in it. And so, in fact, right now, it's even greater opportunity because so many people are going to be standing on the sidelines. Like, this is the time when, investing wise, you get to sneak in the back door. You get to buy the things on sale. You get to buy the things that nobody's looking at, like the boring stocks that nobody wanted to buy, but you're like, oh, wow, it's going to thrive in this economy. You get to invest in ways that you couldn't before, because through the practices and through the design of the mastermind, you are actually creating your goals that you came in there with, but you're creating them in such a new way. And this way it's designed to be outside of your purview right now. So what I do is I ask you to bring in your goals, and then I present a structure that might feel like, oh, wait, shit, are you serious? But you know what that does? Can you feel that pull? That pulls you towards that abundance, and that pulls you away from that uncertainty. So what I'm doing is I'm not telling you what to do, because you have all the answers within you. It's a strong invite. And because I've done it before, like, what I'm teaching is what I've already, the financial freedom, retiring at 39 and building a business, and investing. I have so many different aspects of investing, whether it's farmland and, stocks and all types of things. So can you see how, when you are presented with kind of like something outside of you and it's presented in a way that's possible for you, and you're doing this in your business probably as well for other people. So, I'm not talking about anything new here. But can you see how that invite, and it's such a lovely place to be as well. And that's part of this. Like, we want to have the joy flow through us. We want to have fun every day. Like, that's why I'm always like, you got to be creative with your money. Like, money is actually not boring. Money is just a function of the creativity that you've been willing to bring to it. And you've never been taught that you can be creative with money. So once you get onto that, though, like, you don't go back the other way. Like, you never, like, learn something and it's so fun, and then you go back to the awful way. And like I say, there's never been a better time to look at your money now. And it has nothing to do with the amount, because money's just ones and zeros. Money means nothing about you. So if you're in debt right now and you're like, oh God, I don't have the money to invest. Well, as long as you stay in that, you're proliferating that I don't have the money right now and I don't have any money to invest. Instead, challenge yourself. Like, I mean, I've been buying a stock for, it's been about $12 and it's a 9% return. I've been buying that stock for 3 years. Don't tell me you don't have $12, right? So, in the times of polarity is when it's time for you to lean in. It's time for you to pull together all these spiritual practices that you've been doing and to actually bring it into the 3D world, because that's what people are doing right now. And there's a sense of presence that you can have with this, so that you can actually be operating in the 3D world but actually be present, like 80% present, 20% operating. And what you're doing is you are through a lot of it is a function of listening, which is also a state of allowing. You are building into the new version of you every moment in time. And that is related to the amount of power that you're willing to bring to the moment. And all you have to do in that case is because then you are disconnected from the circumstances. You're not in that conversation anymore where it's pulling you in and you're making it all about you. Then you can actually see what's in the mirror. And when you can see what's in the mirror and you're not entangled, you can actually act from there. Because what's in the mirror is for you, but it's not about you. Because there is nothing about you because you're source. Source is openness, right? Like your identity is great because that's what helps you navigate. But when you can see what's in the mirror and act from there, from a place of depersonalization, then you become someone new. And support is huge. And that's one of the things that I have actually learned this year is allowing people to help me. And I felt like I was doing that before, but you know how we always think we're doing it and then something happens and we're like, "Oh god, I wasn't." Like, I mean, I have a beautiful team. There's 6 of us, 5 of us, where there's one person that's kind of part-time. And I didn't realize I was taking on more stuff because I didn't wanna burden them with more stuff, but the reality is the spiritual investor has continued to expand every single year. We've made more money every single year, and a team's gotten bigger, and we've gotten more, people into the program. So it's like, of course there's gonna be more work. And I was sort of, without realizing it, taking it on myself, which then was blocking me from bringing in more abundance. And I am the energy of the company effectively. And so then do you see what I'm saying? Like, then I was like shortchanging everyone because the people who work with me, like, they're getting wealthy too. That's the whole idea. So yeah, hopefully this has helped you. Hopefully this has brought you down into the presence of the knowledge that is already within you and given you a way that no matter what your circumstances are, no matter what you're doing in your day, you can really bring in a lot of power if you will feel the discord between the concept of abundance and uncertainty and just look from there. Don't try and fix it. Don't try to be something, but just really look from there. I'm very excited about the mastermind. I love having the energy of so many incredible souls in a container. This one's a little bit bigger. I did that on purpose. So we kind of overfilled this one. I'm always changing it and redesigning it. The foundation is the same, but I'm always changing it based on me, where I am. And then also, we spend the first week really getting to know where you are, you know? And I love it. We just finished up the last one a couple weeks ago, and it's like, I don't know, I love just sitting in the awe at the end, And I find that like everybody has a different experience with it, but I do find that after each one there's kind of like a theme. Like you'll hear like cuz we give you a form. It's like, okay, well, what was your experience? It gives us feedback, plus, it helps you really reflect back. And what was with this last group was, it's like as someone was like, I'm completely different, but I can't explain why, but I know that it's here. So I am open to discover what this new group is gonna show me. And, a lot of people, they say, "Okay, well, I can't do the mastermind because of the schedule." So what we've done, this is something that we haven't really talked about this first yet, but we are going to, give you a way now that you can join future rounds of the mastermind. And so if it's a scheduling thing, or if you're kinda like, "Hey, I do wanna be in the mastermind at some point," Um, what this allows you to do is have a longer payment plan if you decide to do the payment plan. So, like, let's say you're joining the fall, we have a fall one and we have a winter one, then you're able to do that. Plus, we give you early bird pricing. I don't know how this is going to work, because what we're going to do is we're going to fill up the whole container with early bird pricing. Plus, what we have done is I allowed 4 people to rejoin from the previous mastermind. I'd never done that before. And I think I'll probably do that again, 3 to 4 people from the previous one, because I want to have new people in there too. And then if that's not enough, I'm also going to give you free access to SI Advanced, which is where you can actually start investing and start learning. You can come to the calls in there. And what this does is it builds you up. And so it's getting you more ready for the mastermind coming up. So, that's if we're not creating new things, then like, what are we doing here? And if we're not testing things out, and with me, I run the business the same way that I run my life, which is I don't make sort of, I'll say, rash decisions. What I do is I think of it and then I kind of set it on the shelf, and then I'll talk to my team about it. Typically, I'll even change the way that I originally saw something working. And then I'll come back to it, and then what will happen is that the world will show me, like, that it's a good idea and sort of how to do it. Like, for example, I'll just share this last minute here. But for example, I didn't even think about having people rejoin until I got so many requests for people wanting to rejoin. And I'm like, at first I was saying no. And then I'm like, well, why not? If I have certain people that have been in a previous mastermind who I love their energy and they're getting so much value, why would I block that? And so I really had to look at myself and go, are you just like making a decision without merit or what? So I'm really glad that I did that. And then even allowing people to join future masterminds. You know what it did, and I never realized this, but it's going to make things easier on my team because it's more of an ongoing thing. And it doesn't, sort of take them out when we do these, we have a mastermind launch and we'll, announce it in it's 3 weeks. And it's just what it's doing is I'm constantly uncovering the more effortless path. But here's the thing, something can't be effortless unless it's effortless for everyone. Like, you didn't come here to live in a bubble. And actually, if you want to live in a bubble, it requires more effort. You are a symbiotic um, part of nature. And so when something is a win-win, this allowing you to roll the masterminds, I'm like, what can I give you to make sure that you're starting it now? Because if you want to do this, then obviously you're in the energy now, you know? So it's got to be a win-win when something is effortless, or else at some point it kind of gets a cog in the wheel and it becomes not effortless. And so I guess that's kind of like how we're living in the middle, is we're getting out of ourselves and we're looking at other people's worlds and going, what is this experience for you? And how can I see that through the lens of you? And then guess what? We get more connected. And then guess what? Money comes in, not only in an effortless way, but it literally becomes unstoppable. So, all right, thank you for spending this time here. So much love to you. I'll see you soon. Thank you for listening to this podcast and for expanding your own wealth capacity so that you can begin living a bigger life and also influence others. And speaking of that, if you found this podcast valuable, then others will too. So please help us get the word out and share. And if you have any questions or thoughts, I'm here to help. You can reach me on Instagram at Elizabeth Ralph. I answer all of my DMs personally because we're in this together and we're all working towards the same higher consciousness level.